Gentlemen, let's talk candidly about the one question that hangs in the back of nearly every man's mind after he crosses the age of 60, but is almost never discussed openly in a doctor's office or even with friends. It's the question of rhythm, specifically your personal sexual rhythm. How often should a man in his 60s, 70s, or beyond be engaging in sexual release? Is it still healthy to do it every day like you might have in your 20s? Should you cut back significantly, thinking your body's worn out? Or should you stop entirely believing the outdated myth that it's just something for younger men? I've heard the confusing advice you get. As much as you want, if you can, don't waste your testosterone, save it up, do it every day for prostate health. The truth is, there is no single, simple magic number that works for every man on earth, but there is a highly specific science based rhythm, a sweet spot that works best for your body, your unique hormonal balance, and your overall health at this vital stage of life. I'm Dr. Freya Gean, and for the past 12 years, my practice as a urologist has involved listening to men, not just diagnosing and treating, but truly listening to their concerns, their frustrations, and their deepest confusions about maintaining their vitality and confidence as they age. And I can tell you this: your sexual rhythm in later life is far more than just a matter of release. It is a fundamental diagnostic tool, a reflection of your entire internal system. It signals the health of your circulation, the stability of your hormones, the responsiveness of your nervous system, and even your emotional resilience. The decline men often accept as just aging is, in fact, often a simple misunderstanding of recovery time and physiological capacity. In the next half hour, we're going to map out the perfect sustainable rhythm for you. You will learn the biological dangers of both too much and too little activity after 60. It's a tightrope walk, and most men unknowingly fall off one side or the other. You'll learn the 5 crucial mistakes that sabotage your sensitivity and leave you feeling fatigued instead of rejuvenated, and a simple self tuning method to find your personalized frequency based on real physical and mental feedback. This conversation is not about shame, judgment, or outdated myths. It's about science, dignity, and longevity. It's about working with your evolving body so you can continue to enjoy your sexuality and the health benefits that come with it for decades to come. Before we dive into the deep science, I have a quick request. If you are serious about taking command of your health and appreciate this honest conversation, please hit the like button right now. It helps this information reach more men who need a clear, non judgmental guide. And drop a comment below. Tell me, what's the single biggest myth about aging and male performance you've heard? Let's get this community talking. To truly find your perfect rhythm, you must first let go of the young man's mindset. When you were 25, your body was a high octane racing engine. Your recovery time was virtually instantaneous. After 60, your body is still a magnificent engine, but it's now a finely tuned vintage performance machine. It runs best on specialized fuel, requires strategic rest, and absolutely demands proper maintenance. The most damaging myth men over 60 believe is that they must stop or dramatically reduce sexual activity to save energy or protect their health. Let me bust that myth with 3 biological facts. Myth number 1: stopping saves your health. The fibrosis trap. Biologically explained, the penis is made of specialized spongy tissue, the corpora cava, which must be flexible and elastic to expand and fill with blood. This tissue needs regular oxygenation, and the body's natural way of achieving this is through frequent nocturnal spontaneous erections. Morning wood is the most common example. If you avoid sexual activity for long periods, the tissue is deprived of this essential oxygen boost. This prolonged lack of expansion can lead to the slow buildup of collagen and scar tissue, a process called fibrosis. Practically explained, think of a towel that is constantly dry and folded. Over time, it becomes stiff and brittle. When you need it to absorb water, which represents blood flow, it struggles to expand. Fibrosis reduces the tissue's elasticity, making it physically harder to achieve and maintain full firmness. Emotionally explained, infrequency leads to a vicious cycle. The less you use the function, the harder it is to perform, which creates anxiety, which further discourages activity. You begin to feel disconnected from your own body, fueling the myth that you are too old. A regular rhythm is essential maintenance to keep the tissue flexible and responsive. Myth number 2: more is always better. The dopamine and adrenal crash. Biologically explained, sexual climax is an intense event for your nervous system, flooding your brain with a powerful cocktail of neurotransmitters, primarily dopamine, the reward chemical, and oxytocin, the bonding and relaxation chemical. It also requires a massive surge of energy and muscle contraction, coordinated by your nervous system. In later life, the adrenal glands and nervous system take longer to recover from this surge. When you push the frequency too high without adequate rest, your body struggles to replenish these critical resources. Practically explained, this is why you feel that heavy, sluggish brain fog feeling the next day, or why your second session often feels duller and requires more effort. You have overdrafted your system's neural and hormonal bank account. Your sensitivity decreases and your energy drops, leading to chronic fatigue or irritability. Emotionally explained, when you overuse the system, the experience shifts from being a source of deep pleasure and relaxation to a source of depletion and guilt. Instead of feeling a positive reset, you feel drained, irritable, and less motivated, sabotaging the very emotional benefits you sought. The foundational truth: prostate maintenance. The single most cited piece of scientific guidance comes from a major Harvard study involving thousands of men over decades. The finding was clear. Men who ejaculated regularly, roughly 4 to 7 times per month, had a statistically significant lower risk of certain prostate problems compared to those who rarely or never did. Biologically explained, the prostate is a gland that produces fluid. Regular ejaculation is like a necessary flushing of the system. It helps prevent congestion, keeps blood moving freely through the gland, reduces inflammation risk, and ensures the ducts remain clear. When the prostate is congested or inflamed, it negatively impacts surrounding nerves and blood vessels, directly degrading sexual function. Practically explained, a rhythm of 4 to 7 times a month averages out to about once every 4 to 7 days. This frequency is the ideal minimum baseline for prostate health maintenance, serving as a powerful natural preventative measure. The conclusion: after 60, the perfect rhythm is a delicate balance. It must be frequent enough to ensure tissue health and flush the prostate, but infrequent enough to allow your hormonal and nervous systems, the recovery systems, to fully recharge and ensure each experience is satisfying, not depleting. As a urologist, my clinical work has always gone beyond treating symptoms. It has been centered on understanding the whole man, the intersection of his physical health, his emotional life, and his confidence. For the past 12 years, I've spoken with countless men, not about whether their performance matches some arbitrary Hollywood standard, but about whether their body is serving them in a way that provides comfort, pleasure, and dignity. My philosophy is that sexual health is a marker of overall systemic health. If your heart is healthy, your blood pressure is controlled, and your stress levels are low, your sexual function will naturally be robust. If the engine is running smoothly, the performance gauge will reflect it. The challenge most men face is a lack of clear, non judgmental guidance. They read conflicting articles and are left to fumble in the dark, usually resulting in a frantic excessive phase followed by a resigned, infrequent phase, both of which are detrimental. I am here to be your health strategist. My job is to translate complex human physiology into actionable, simple protocols. I can tell you with absolute certainty, age is not the barrier to pleasure. Poor recovery is. Your body is still fully capable, but it is less forgiving of overuse or neglect. When we talk about the perfect rhythm, we are talking about intentional maintenance, a proactive, self aware decision to optimize your energy levels, stabilize your hormones, and ensure your system is always ready, not just occasionally recovering. This is about taking command of your vitality, not surrendering it to the calendar. Since there is no one size fits all number, the best way to find your rhythm is to learn how to read your body's warning signs. Your body sends clear signals when you are doing too much, causing depletion, or too little, causing stagnation. Here are the 5 most common mistakes I see men making and how to tell if you've crossed the line. Mistake number 1: the dopamine crash and burn the day after fatigue. This is the classic sign of pushing frequency too hard without adequate recovery. The red flag: waking up the next day with a heavy, unshakable, sluggish feeling, mental fog, brain fatigue, or an unexplained dip in motivation or mood. It's a feeling of being subtly depleted, not pleasantly relaxed. Biologically explained, your brain dumped a massive dose of dopamine and adrenaline during climax. If your system is tired, your adrenal glands struggle to keep up, and your brain's regulatory systems overcompensate, pulling dopamine levels too low. Your nervous system is saying, I need more sleep and more time to rebuild my neurotransmitters. Practically explained, this mistake feels like chronic low energy. If you notice you're skipping your morning walk, feeling irritable with your partner, or struggling to focus on a book the day after activity, you likely need to stretch your rhythm from 3 days to 4 or 5 days. Emotionally explained, when climax leads to irritability, the activity becomes a source of emotional friction rather than release. You've traded temporary pleasure for lasting mental fatigue. Mistake number two, the vascular fatigue signal, the weakened performance. This is the second most common sign of overtaxing the circulatory system. The red flag. Erections feel noticeably weaker, softer, or less sustained, even when you are genuinely aroused. Biologically explained, repeated cycles of dilation and constriction without sufficient recovery fatigue the blood vessels. Nitric oxide production drops, and blood flow becomes less efficient. Practically explained, if it suddenly takes much longer effort to achieve the same result, your vascular system is fatigued. Emotionally explained, this is where performance anxiety starts, creating a stress cycle that further reduces function. Mistake number three, the prostate pressure or pelvic ache, local congestion. The red flag, a dull ache or pressure in the perineum or pelvic region after activity. Biologically explained, excessive frequency doesn't allow full recovery of the gland and surrounding tissue. Practically explained, if discomfort appears with short gaps but disappears with longer rest, you found your limit. Emotionally explained, discomfort creates negative associations, reducing desire. Mistake number four, the fibrosis trap, infrequent neglect. The red flag, lack of spontaneous erections, increased tension, and difficulty when returning to activity. Biologically explained, lack of oxygenation leads to tissue stiffening and increased stress hormones. Practically explained, long gaps lead to reduced responsiveness. Emotionally explained, infrequency reduces vitality and connection. Mistake number five, the guilt and shame cycle, the emotional saboteur. The red flag, feeling guilt, embarrassment, or stress about desire. Biologically explained, stress hormones restrict blood flow. The solution, reframe the activity as healthy maintenance. For most healthy men over 60, the sweet spot is once every 3 to 5 days, about 6 to 10 times per month. Start with once every 4 days for 2 weeks, then adjust based on how you feel. Support your rhythm with nitric oxide boosting foods, beets, leafy greens, nuts, watermelon. Quality sleep, dark, cool room, no screens before bed. Pelvic floor exercises, controlled contractions several times weekly. The goal is not a number, it's comfort, confidence, and dignity. When your rhythm is right, you gain mental clarity, emotional balance, and reliable function. You reduce stress, improve relationships, and restore confidence. You are not broken. You are evolving. Your body is still designed for pleasure and function. It simply requires smarter maintenance. Commit to a 30-day rhythm audit. Focus not on frequency, but on how you feel afterward, drained or restored. The power to restore your vitality, confidence, and dignity is entirely in your hands. Age does not take this away. It simply asks you to be more intentional. Take command.